wish we could do a little better than this. Huh. But anyway, okay. If you are homeless or you're nomad or whatever, uh, there are some opportunities out there and stuff I've known for a lot of years. Um, if you're a showgirl, you can go to places like Alaska and Guam and all that, and you look it up on the internet, and it'd be dancing with the housing. And I've known several people that have done it. I knew a girl way back that went to the Orient. She did Japan, and she was a black girl. Hey, hey. And let me tell you what, I don't know if it's still that way, but um, black people are like prized possessions in Japan. They just think they're the most beautiful thing in the world, and they're so rare. So she did really well, and really enjoyed it, made a lot of money, and they have very interesting clubs out there. They do all kinds of things out there. They have like act clubs, all kinds of wild stuff. Um, but it just depends how far you'd like to go. Um, I never did all the extra stuff, but there's people that do that, and that's their living. And so they have a variety of shows. Um, there's also jobs if you're a showgirl, like Alaska, and you can get housing. Guam does it. Um, and what they'll do is, you'll do a little contract thing because they want to make sure. Thank you for the thumbs up. They want to make sure that you are going to stay for the duration. I know a girl that did Guam, 4 years ago dancing, and she loved it. And I think it's like the first month, um, a portion of your tips go towards your housing and the person that recruited you, and then it like gets lower in time or whatever. But she actually stayed for a year. She left Navarre, Florida, from Club 51 as a showgirl there. And matter of fact, she's a black girl, but she's high tone black. And so that's usually like mixed, what they call high tone. But real pretty girl. And she was probably close to 30. And she went to Guam and she did the thing and she paid her cut to them and all that, and got free housing kind of thing. You really, the cut is the trade off actually. They'll get most of your tips first month and it reduces. And I think her contract was 3 months. Um, and I think Alaska is the same thing. It's usually like 3 months. If you void the contract, it's a serious problem. But they want you to commit because they're paying to fly you out there and giving you housing and all that kind of stuff. So uh, you want to make sure you have a phone that'll work over there, um, and you know, bring your computer or whatever on the plane or whatever. But anyway, she did so good out there that she rented this like, extreme apartment for dirt cheap. And she just loved it. And then she turned around and she moved her mom out there. And I may have actually a 4-bedroom house coming up soon, but it's not this stuff. Um, that I thought I'd do a vlog because I've talked to a lot of people this week that actually travel about and get housing in all different kinds of places. But anyway, so this girl, she did miss Florida a lot, but she moved her mom out there, and I think she moved her sister out there. And uh, and then she kept talking about coming back for a visit. So I don't know if she's actually come back. I haven't talked to her in a while. But she was so happy out there. She bought a car. She got the nicest apartment, luxury apartment, best furniture, everything. Going to work in Guam as a showgirl, and she got out of their housing thing and got her own place. Moved family members out there and stuff, and they got into places that were really, really small. And Guam is real pretty. It's a really pretty tropical place. I've known like three people that have gone to Guam. Um, I had a boyfriend, Kelly Thomas O'Brien. I don't think he's around anymore though. I haven't seen him on the internet at all. But he used to do deals with Guam, and you don't have to be military, but they have long-term jobs, like 6 months or a year, and they ship you back like every 6 months to the U.S. to visit your family, whatever, and then you go right back. And the contract is extremely expensive payroll. So it's real good for single people or people that don't have children, stuff like that. That's a good thing to consider. You work on a military base. You stay within the military base. You don't go outside of it at all. They have everything there. It's like a compound. They have, restaurant, nightclubs, shopping and all that stuff there. And uh, again, you don't have to be military, and it pays extremely high because it's a risk job, because it's on a base. It could be bombed at any time or whatever. But there's a lot of people that do it. Kelly used to do it, and it makes humongous money. But uh, and then let's see, Alaska. You can be a showgirl and go to Alaska and get housing. They'll fly you out there, the whole thing. You have to sign a term contract, and there's a lot of money in Alaska, a ton of money. You're getting fishermen, you're getting people who work on oil rigs and all that stuff. So, real good opportunity for them to go to a new place. It's dark most of the time, and it is very cold. But, if you're into traveling, it's a real neat idea. All you have to do is look this stuff up on the internet. Jobs with housing, or a job with housing. And I talked to a girl 2 days ago, and her and a guy, I don't know if that's her husband, boyfriend, or just friend, they do nothing, and they're not J1s or anything like that. All these people that I'm talking about are not J1s. But this lady and her guy travel all over the states for jobs with housing. And she just left the other day, a really nice girl. And she just stays so long, and then they decide to go. And a lot of them will make you pay by the week. There are some that'll have a term lease, and you can't go in there, trash it up, steal from people or anything like that. And you have to keep it really neat and clean. So if you're a bum and a slob, don't even consider it, because you'll be in the street. No drugs, no parties. You can't bring boyfriends, girlfriends, new dates, buddies into the house if it's a house or apartment. And a lot of times, like in busy seasons, um, uh, from what I heard in a big season, like spring break in Destin and Fort Walton and stuff like that, um, they'll have a house or apartment, and they'll just like pile the people in there. And then a portion of your payroll check every week or every 2 weeks, however you're paid, will go towards the housing, and it can be anywhere from 75 to 150 a week. And in the high season, in Destin and Fort Walton area, hotels are 200 to 300 a night. I don't care if it's Hotel 6. They just go crazy. It's like old Panama. Panama used to do that, just whatever the traffic would bear. So it's a real neat opportunity. You don't even have to have a car. Um, I know a guy right now that's doing housing with a job, and he's been here since March or May, he said. And he lives in a house, and right now he's the only one there because everybody's left, because this is the winter time for this area, so it's a slower time. Hasn't been since the pandemic. This is the first year it's got slow, like it normally is. And he pays 100 a week out of his paycheck, and I think it was $50 cleaning deposit, and I don't know what else, but you signed a big contract for that. And but that's dirt cheap. That's 400 a month for a roof, okay? And it comes with internet, cable TV, all the utilities, and all that. And this guy doesn't even have a car, okay? But he's done a lot of jobs where you travel and you work and you get housing. And he just really enjoys it. Matter of fact, he's thinking of going to the Carolinas now for another job. Actually, with the same company. Oddly enough, because the same company has houses like all over the states, and it's for their employees, whether they're J1. Now they don't hire a lot of J1s, that company, which I found interesting, and that was kind of outlawed around the pandemic, where they couldn't bring anybody over. So I don't know what exactly the situation is nowadays, if there's many J1 anymore or not. Um, they were real bad, terrible bad for years in Okaloosa County. And they will take over a job. These people, the owners will bring like, 15, 20 J1s in. And they used to do it to my daughter, and turn around and kill everybody's hours. It's a regular there. And she would have like, a 6 hour week or 8 hour week. And then they would run these J1s 40 hours. Every one of them would get 40 hours. And they make them managers, and they can't even count money. And it was just, I never worked for the company before. It was just ridiculous. And but it's an education thing. The J1s, what it is they'll send him, to another place, overseas, whatever, and it's part of their education to work, somewhere else. So they get paid, and then a part of their paycheck is housing, and then like a lot of them only get paid like $4 an hour. So no matter what the minimum wage is, you know, and they'll get the housing there. And then what they'll do is the Filipinos, a 40-hour week job is a joke to them. So they get a second job somewhere else, like a fast food restaurant like McDonald's or something like that. And then they take all that money. Well, they only minimum wage in the Philippines is like $4 an hour. Yeah, look it up. It is really low. There's a lot of Filipinos that'll teach on that English teaching app, and they get paid different. Anybody that's overseas gets paid different than United States people. Yep, they call it NCCs, and it's like half, you know, but it works out to like $4 an hour. But yeah, so a lot of the Oriental countries and all that, they pay really really low. That's why a lot of people will come to the United States. They'll get education where they're at, and then they just will get to the United States and they want to open a business because they'll make so much more money. And that's what they do. So there's a ton of opportunity if you're homeless and you want to work. Okay, if you look it up on the internet, jobs with housing, and pick the state. Say jobs with housing in Arizona or jobs with housing in New York or whatever, and see what they have to offer. If they'll transport you, or if you have to take buses or whatever, or if you have a car, You would be surprised. This is a big thing right now. And I'm glad it is because there was a lot of people homeless in the pandemic, ones that wouldn't pay rent and thought it was a big joke and kept raking those stimulus checks in. I knew people who were taking stimulus checks for over 1,000 a week in Bama. And I'm like, what the hell? And now they're trying to make everybody pay it all back, all the unemployment and all that other crap. But anyway, um, a lot of people put out homeless. There was a ton of landlords that evicted people just instantly, just so they could sell the property for 3 and 4 times the price when the market was so high. I know a lot of people like that. And I mean, I paid rent all the way through the pandemic. There was no excusing my rent. I paid it all the way through. No, there's a ton of unemployment they're recalling. A ton of it. It was like a big loan. It wasn't like unemployment at all. Um, but yeah, it's our government's so shady. I swear, the elections, everything. It's so shady. But anyway, so um, you know, there's also churches that will help the homeless. Some of them do have housing. Some of them have free showers. Um, and most all the churches have free hot meals on the holidays, like tomorrow's Thanksgiving. I know I think it was the VFW in Valparaiso. My daughter and I went there when you were driving by, and they had free Thanksgiving dinner, and it was like, whoa. And I think that was when I got laid off. Um, and we didn't have a whole lot of money. And I think she was just starting to work or something. And we were driving by and it said free Thanksgiving dinner, and I believe it was the VFW. It was one of those places. We went in there to go check it out, and we had a few bucks. And I thought, well, if this is true, we'll just tip the bartender or whatever, um, because we'll want cokes probably, and at least we can kind of pay for the meal by tipping well to where we're serving. Sure as heck, we went in there and they had miles of food, and they were so nice. Oh my gosh, we had a blast. And it's just for whoever, whether they're poor or they're alone, they offer that dinner. And a lot of churches offer Thanksgiving dinner. Um, a lot of food, the food shelters and all that will, have you sign up for a thing in advance where you can get a bunch of Thanksgiving stuff. Like they offered that to me. I got no way to cook it or refrigerate it or any of that. So they offered that to me this year, and I'm like, man, I got no place to put it. Um, but my work has a microwave, isn't it a shame? But anyway, so um, yeah, I get hot lunch, dude, because I bring canned food up there and cook it in the microwave. But yeah, so um, there's a lot of opportunity out there. Uh, you have to look on the internet and see, like churches with free showers, churches with free meals, churches with housing. And there's some secondhand stores that will fund a housing thing, like Waterfront Mission in Fort Walton Beach has a housing thing, and you can apply to get in it. They do have restrictions if you do any of these housing deals. Um, for homeless, they do have restrictions, like they don't want animals. I think there's one church down here that will give you housing if you have an animal, but your best bet is to get rid of your animal. It's bad enough to try to feed your own face than to feed an animal. It's not fair to an animal to have to live like that. Um, it just isn't. And uh, even if you were to try to rent something, you're talking four, five, six, $700 deposit to bring an animal in to a normal rental. It's just better if you're homeless. You just need to cut loose the animal and do that another time, and so that animal can have a nice home. And there's Lots of no-kill shelters. There's a no-kill shelter here for cats. There's a no-kill shelter here for dogs. A friend of mine started that. He goes around to neighboring states to go pick up dogs before they kill them off and bring them back to the shelter he created here. And he's not government or city funded. He's just doing it out of his heart, you know. And matter of fact, I sold him a refrigerator, dirt cheap, out of the auction storages. And all he wanted it for was for the keep the medicines cool and stuff to treat the animals, you know. And I was like, right on, man. You know, so I can't give it to you, but I will give you dirt cheap. And it's a really nice refrigerator too. And but yeah, there's a lot of opportunity out there, and you guys need to check it out. Hey, we got Roxanne, we got paranormal giving way over here. Yeah, and so you do need to check it out. Now, I will tell you, any of these, you know, funded housing deals, which will usually be, you know, two persons to a room, or an apartment, stuff like that. That are like with these missions and churches and that. They do have restrictions, and they have waiting lists. Usually, the waiting lists are very, very long. Just like with the welfare apartments, they're, you know, like a year wait to get in. Um, but if you can get in, they're very, very strict. They have a certain time of night you must be in. You cannot be a drinker. You cannot be a doper. And if you miss a night, they'll throw you out because they think you got someplace else to go. I know a guy that got thrown out because they were staying with some friends a couple times. Oh, I don't know. But there's a lot of no-kill shelters around. Like those people that were in that truck that came from up north, and they freaking had that the girl had the real nice newer black car, and the guy had the little red truck with the little tiny camper, and they were sleeping in there, and when they left here, they had 15 animals, cats and dogs, in that truck with them that slept with them, and they were a young couple. I mean, under 30. Pets in for sale, yeah. And but it was so dumb. I was, you know, he says we get a lot of flack from people about um I don't know if they're giving away food there or they're putting the groceries in. There's a bus over there. Trying to figure out what that's supposed to be. I guess that's their groceries. Um, but anyway, so uh, um, if you ever violate any of the rules of the house, you're gone. If you get in a fight with somebody, I know a girl that got thrown out of a two-person apartment in a little tiny complex, and it's two people, and if for some reason they don't get along, the party's over. This girl got in a fight with another girl over something with the refrigerator, and she went all ballistic, and they threw her out. Um, you know, I mean, they don't put up with any crap. You have to follow the rules of the house. You want a place to lay your head? Better follow the rules of the house. And you know, there's a lot of people that are homeless that don't even have cars. So if they throw you out and you have no car, you're in bad shape. I do know people that sleep in the bushes. Yes, I do. I saw a guy the other day over by my storages that was sleeping in the bushes. I mean, it's there. There are people out there, and it's sad. But you know, a lot of them don't want to work. They don't want to make an effort. They're addicts, whatever. Um, because let me tell you, it's a horrible life, and I bust my butt to try to make money. I bust my butt, and don't allow weapons to be sold. I don't know. I don't. You can't sell anything. I don't think weapons on just about anywhere. Um, I tried to sell a bow and arrow on marketplace one time, and they banned it because they said it was a weapon. I thought it was for hunting. I didn't quite think of it as a weapon. A weapon, I think, would be a gun, you know. But anyway, so there's a lot of opportunity out there. So if you have a car or don't have a car, you can still travel about and get jobs with housing, but it comes out of your pay. Some of them require a deposit, like you're supposed to have a credit card to have a deposit, um, and stuff like that. But if you violate at any time, you're done. You are totally history. And like you don't want to be caught stealing, you don't want to bring drugs in, you don't want to trash the place up, um, you don't want to be a problematic individual with the other people that are there. Um, uh, you know, it, because they're just not going to put up with it. So you have to have your crap together. But there's a ton. I found out, I've talked to several people this week, there is just a ton of jobs with housing. Just look it up on the internet, pick the state you want. I'm telling you, you cannot believe it. I didn't know this. I did not know this. Now, I don't know if this is an effect of, since the pandemic, or it was, a lot before the pandemic. I'm kind of thinking it's since the pandemic. I think it's a great thing because there's so many homeless people across the states. It's pitiful. Um, Downtown LA in California and Hollywood, they're building little tiny homes, and there's a lot of business people that are buying the little tiny homes and paying to have them erected in these little tiny places. They get a whole lot, and they're putting a bunch of these little tiny homes on there, and it's just like a little cabin and it'll have two beds in it so two people can stay. And uh they furnish the whole thing with the blankets, pillows, sheets, all that stuff, and your shampoo stuff and everything. They have a shower place where everybody can take a shower. They have washer and dryer so you can wash your clothes, and it has a little radio and there were speakers, and it has heat and air and all that, and it's like a little cabin. It's a little tiny thing, and they don't have to pay anything to stay there. They have so much time to get their act together. And then when they, finally get a place of their own, then they get to take all the stuff out of that little tiny house with them. The blankets, the pillows, all the bits, they get to take with them. And it helps them get a new beginning. And they help direct them into getting jobs and all the stuff. And this is in downtown LA and in Hollywood. It's a big thing right now. Um, so, you know, and they go down the actual streets talking to homeless people, recruiting them to get them, under a roof, which is really wonderful. I mean, I don't ever remember them doing that before, ever. They used to go through the police and go through downtown LA, and people used to live in cardboard boxes on the sidewalks. And I've seen that since I was a little girl. And, with the holy clothes and all that stuff. And the police would go through in the morning and tell them, get up and get out. And, but anyway, so, uh, um, you know, it was funny. A friend of mine invented the raggedy jean stuff. And, uh, I'm like, why on earth? And he said, well, it covers up our terrible downtown LA with all the bums with the ripped up clothes and all that. And I said, well, I mean, why would you trash a bunch of jeans? He said, heck. He said, I take them and pull them behind a horse and jump over fences and drag them, across fences and on the ground and everything else. And then I sell them for like, $100 a pair. I'm like, trashed up jeans? And he's like, oh, yeah. And The whole game plan was to cover up downtown LA. So when tourists came, they didn't just go, oh my God, it's all full of a bunch of homeless, dirty bums sitting on the street. They think all these people are in style because they got, the coolest clothes because they match all this garbage this guy made me sell them with hand over fist. And even today, the raggedy clothes are still in. You see girls with ripped up jeans and guys with them too, with the knees out of them even. Just, ragged out. And when I was a kid, if you had a pair of pants with a hole or a rip in it, man, you were trying to patch it up or it was going to go in the trash can because you just didn't want to wear messed up clothes. And, but yeah, so that was pretty neat what that guy did. He made it a fashion. But yeah, so do check online. You would be very surprised. All year round, jobs with housing in different states, countries, whatever. Um, and it's amazing. But just remember that usually, you have to pay, by the week, and some of them require a deposit, and you just better pray to God you're a good person. You're not like a freaking drunk or a dopehead or a dirty person that can't pick up their trash, you know, and wash their dishes. Because it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. Right now, around here, and for about a 50-mile radius, we're talking $2,000 a bedroom if you want to rent a place. Okay. And in Destin, it's double that price. And then you got to have deposit, and it's real normal in Florida for the deposit to be the like of the rent. So if you pay $2,000 for one bedroom, you'll usually pay $2,000 deposit to rent there. And then you've got to turn around and put out about $500 or more just to turn all the utilities on. And, all your starting deposits and all that. And so I had one that was $400 deposit for the electric, if you can believe that. I could not believe it. I'm like, what the hell? And because I've always paid my electric bills in every state I've lived in, but they're all different companies and it's just different requirements. But yeah, so that's a big chunk of money. You're talking about 5K to move in, basically. So if you don't have 5K, then I hope that you considered working a job with housing, um, so you can quickly get ahead. But bear in mind, I wouldn't, if I have a car, I would keep most of my valuables in storage or at my car and not bring it into the house. I would probably, if I was going to do that, I would probably just um, bring my own sheet, pillow, and whatever, or sleeping bag, and then just do the sleeper thing and just keep my stuff in my car. And that way nobody rips you off. You don't have any problems with the bull crap. But like I say, they don't tolerate the party house thing. You can't bring a boyfriend, girlfriend in there or any of that crap. No strangers in the house. It's only for the people who rent there. And that's because of theft or it being problematic. You know, that's people that are working need their sleep. And most of them, you have to work nothing less than 40 hours a week. Or they're not going to let you have the housing. So do keep that in mind. But, you're working 40 hours a week and they're taking, 75 to 150 out a week. That's a really cool deal, even at minimum wage, because you have a roof and internet and cable TV and, something to sleep on and a shower. You don't even have to have a gym membership. You just have a shower. Now, gym membership at Planet Fitness is $10 a month for a local if you travel a lot. You'll want the $25 one, and that comes with all the extras with the waterbed massage and all that stuff, and the massage chairs and tanning bed junk. Um, so, and you can use it in any Planet Fitness. The $10 one doesn't go to every Planet Fitness. That's only a local membership. So, yeah. But uh, so if you want to, travel, you need to upgrade to the $25 one. And they got a special right now anyway on that. They always run it around Christmas. And then once a year around February, they charge like a $40 maintenance fee with Planet Fitness. Um, and then and then you just pay your normal monthly thing every month. But it's usually February, I think, is the maintenance fee once a year. But anyway, yeah, so I mean, you can do that if you want showers. You can go in there as many times in a day as you want on the $10 one or the $25 one. That's the better membership. Um, I have a friend of mine out here that has a gym that he's owned for years and years and years, and I've been a member there forever. And he has shower there. It's just one shower on the women's side. I don't know how many are on the men's side. I've never been over there, but and that gym's open 24 hours. Planet Fitness is not open 24 hours here, and it's horrible. And it's not open 7 days a week either. There's a lot of holidays they close. On the weekends they close like six o'clock on the weekends. And then during the weekdays, there's only some weekdays they run 24 hours. Um, but yeah, so you can do it kind of all different ways. And then churches will give free showers. You just kind of have to check it out, look it up on the internet, see what different places have to offer. Yeah, but great alternative if you are homeless and you will work, you can get a place to live like a piece of cake and not have to have thousands of dollars to try to do it. And if you like traveling, trying new places, there might be some in your town. There might be some in a state you'd like to go to. And it can be a lot of fun. I've traveled for years dressing entertainers from California to Florida all year round. And it is a lot of fun. I mean, after a while you get tired and you just want to go home. But there's every place is different. Texas is different. California is different. Arizona is different. Kentucky's different. Tennessee's different. Um, and there's lots of stuff to see and do. Lots of free tourism stuff. There's some tourism that you got to pay. Um, you know, there's all kinds of stuff. New people you'll meet. It's always good to make lots of friends, make new friends. Um, and you learn different things about different states, the things that they normally eat or places they like to go or the way they dress. It's just different. It's like when I left California and went to Oklahoma, everybody there wore jeans. And I was just not a jean person. And the typical attire for a female was Pendleton shirt, jeans, and cowboy boots or little white pointy tennis shoes. And I would never wear any of that, you know. And they're like, "You ain't in style," They thought I was a freak because I come out there with heels and shorts, heels and dresses, heels and pants, and they just thought I was real different. It was like half of my California clothes I never wore there. But um, yeah, yeah, do check it out. Great opportunity. If you know anybody that's having a hard time of it, and yeah, and they no God, Planet Fitness since the pandemic they just made their hours retarded, and there's a lot of days are closed. Like they'll probably be closed tomorrow. They might even be closed today, Thanksgiving Eve and Thanksgiving Day. I mean, they close all kinds of days. It's ridiculous, and they keep hiring new people. but they can't keep this sucker open. I mean, even when they reduced to 10 o'clock at night wasn't too bad, but God, now on the weekends it's like they close at 6. It's retarded, you know. But yeah, so and they don't open early in the mornings anymore. There's some days that they don't open till 7, where they used to open at 4 in the morning. They don't do all that. They just really screwballed it up. It's a shame because there's a ton of military that come in, I mean, before daybreak and do their workout. And then you got a ton of people that come after work, and that closing at 6 o'clock at night is retarded. Oh God, no! I don't know if there's any WalMarts that are 24 hours anymore. I know in 3 different states around me that none of them have gone back 24 hours. It's a new company that owns that. And all the Walton family sold out. So it's Oriental guy. I think it's Chinese that's supposed to own all the Walmart now. But that's why it's getting so crappy. I don't think you're going to see Walmarts go back 24 hours. I just don't. I've just not seen it. Jobs are hard to come by today. Let me tell you. I even applied for Walmart again. And Sam's Club, and I was denied Sam's Club. But yeah, so um, they've got a new system with Sam's Club. They've got some kind of dude that handles all the recruiting, and he takes all foreigners. He will only bring foreigners in. Like J1s and stuff. That's all he wants to do. He won't hire any local people. Yeah, I found that out the other day. I'm like, God, I wish I'd have known that. I wouldn't even bother to apply. But yeah, so um, there's a lot of opportunity out there. There is. But, I know a whole lot of homeless that don't want to make an effort. I know one guy that hasn't worked in a flipping month who claims that his disability from the military he could get, but he's like, it takes so much work. Well, you better get to it. I'd be jumping on that pin and making appointments and filling crap out because I know people that have got it in less than 6 months because they pursued it, you know. Um, but you have to go after it. It's a lot of work to get it done. But once you get it done, that's your income. It's like Social Security. I mean, you can take it early or you take it late. And if you don't have the money that paid in, which is my problem, I haven't paid in a lot of money to Social Security. I worked a lot of under the table jobs when I was younger when I left home. And it was like, whoa. Um, I think mine was like, the last time I looked at it for retirement was like 75 a week or some crap. That'd get you real far today. I mean, I've known people that wouldn't have any at all because they always worked under the table or worked for themselves. Mm-hmm. Because you can't get it unless you pay money into it. That's the thing. But yeah, do check it out. There's a lot of opportunity out there. I was very surprised. I learned so much this week, and I'm running into more and more people that are doing jobs with housing, and they're not J1s. They're just people that like to travel about. Just like this one guy I know, he doesn't even have a car. Yeah, he doesn't even have a car, and he travels around working different jobs, and he'll stay as long as he likes it. He's got another job offer in another state for the same company, and uh, he's waiting to get his transfer. It was pretty cute. But yeah, so that's what it is. I mean, the opportunity's there. So I wished I would have known. I really wished I would have known. Because that would have been terrific. I can think of several states I would like to go to, and I would have loved to have tried to do the housing with job thing. Yeah, and I think it's a blessing that these businesses have bought properties, houses, apartments, townhouses, whatever, and are, letting just regular people come to work for them and pay them, some money out of their check every week. It's way cheaper than a flipping hotel. I mean, that's 75 to 150 a week for a place to live. Let me tell you, you can't get a hotel by the week down here on winter rate right now for that. The cheapest one I've seen is the Marina Bay out on 98 in Fort Walton, and it was $339 until this week. They raised it for the holiday weekend, but it was $339 a week, and then of course you're going to pay some tax there because you have to pay the city tax, hotel tax, and that crap. And then usually after 4 weeks in a hotel, they call it residential, and then those taxes come up. I know that does happen in California because I did it, where I would live at a hotel, by the month, till I found a place that I wanted to rent, you know, and it's kind of luxuriously fun because you get food delivered to you, especially if you're in a better hotel like Radisson or something like that, where you can order dinner from their restaurant and all that. Um, I had one in Mississippi. I stayed by the week out in Jackson, Miss, and um, it was a real nice. It's one of those home type uh, hotels where they have an iron in there, an ironing board, and they have um, a microwave and a refrigerator, and it was just really nice. And then all you had to do was fill out this form and hang it on your door, or take it to the front desk, or give it to the maid, and they would bring you whatever groceries you checked off that were on the list. And then they also handle your dry cleaning, or if you want washing done, you just, they come get it and they fold it all up or hang it up and bring it back to you, and they charge you for that. But I mean, it's really kind of fun. So you have heat and air you can use any way you want. If you want to run around naked with 100-degree heat on, you can do it. You know, and if you want to take a shower for 2 hours solid, you can do it. Um, you know, I mean, you could just party away with their utilities. You can watch all kinds of movies on cable TV. You got a telephone, okay, and I mean, it's just really cheap. You know, um, I've done that quite a few times in my life where I just moved into a hotel, and it's really quite nice. You get tired of it after a while because it's just too small. You just decide, well, I just really need a big place. And I mean, a lot of them have pools, gyms, all kinds of neat amenities. But I like that one in Jackson Miss though, because they would deliver the groceries right to your door when you check off the stuff you want on the list, and then they just charge it to your room. And I mean, you can get any kind of groceries from the store. If you want a certain kind of coffee or a certain kind of deodorant or toothpaste, just whatever, they'll just go get it. You know, charge it to your room. Yep. So, um, uh, again, a monthly hotel, isn't another great option. If you don't have all the money to rent a place. Um, and, they're usually very nice to long termers if you're there for a week or you're there for months. You know, um, uh, they're usually really, really gracious, you know, and, that it's just, different way to live. I mean, I'm not going to tell you an RV is a good idea or a third wheel or any of that crap because they're just too expensive, you know, to try to park them. Um, and um, and even the rent in those trailer parks, are is really expensive nowadays. It used to be really cheap, but it's terribly expensive. But even if you stay, um, in a monthly or yearly lease with an RV or something like that, or you know even your own mobile home that you bought, mobile home house, they're going to charge you a ton. And even at the overnight camping places, they're going to charge you. And so it's just not cheap. And there's so many places that don't want them. Um, in Destin, they don't want any RVs and campers and any of that stuff staying anywhere in Destin but at resorts that are made for that. And you pay, a daily fee there. And they sure don't want them at the hotels. Don't even attempt to drag your RV with you, because here in Okaloosa County they like to charge you $150 a day if you bring that RV and put that sucker in their lot. And that's on top of your room. Whatever it is you're paying for your room, you're going to pay that additional $150 a day to take up a bunch of parking spaces in their parking lot. They don't want them. So, don't think it's a real bitching idea to jump in an RV and go, hey, let's all go to Florida. Because you're going to have to pay just to put it somewhere. You'd be better off in renting a car or flying down and just, going to your hotel. Because, it's just retarded if you're going to pay $150 a day to, park an RV in a hotel parking lot. So, and it's the gas. Our gas keeps changing all the time. They say it's supposed to be going back up and all this stuff. And they're going to jack with the gas until they try to get us all to buy electric cars. One, electric cars are real neat, but you're talking $60K and up. And the next thing is you can buy a nice vet for that kind of money. But the next thing is they're not totally bug free. I just don't think that they've got the engineering up to par on these electric cars to where we just all need to really switch over and just give up gasoline. I really think that. Okay. I'm me 3 times over. I don't know. But I just don't think we're there yet. Maybe another 5 or 10 years we might get better with electric cars. I mean, there's a lot of companies that are starting to try to manufacture their own electric cars. Elon Musk put out his plans and everything to the public so any competitor could build an electric car with great ease. Okay? I mean, he doesn't even believe in patents, He hates them. But, the thing is that I just don't think that they're up to par. I don't think we're all the way there yet, And like Tesla, you can't just drive a Tesla into a shop and go, hey, can you fix this? Because they don't. Tesla wants their car back. And then you have to wait to have it repaired. And, sometimes they'll furnish you with a car or whatever, and they'll come pick up the car. But, I mean, do you notice a lot of repair shops? That was the first thing that bothered me, was they only had, like, 1 or 2 Tesla places across the states. Then they just opened that Texas one. Well, that's where they got to go. There aren't mechanics that work on Teslas. It's very dangerous to work an electric car. It can kill you. No lie. You shouldn't be wrenching on that sucker unless you know what you're doing. It's just not for the average Joe. But as much as they're pushing us to try to get us away from gasoline, it reminds me when I was growing up as a kid in California, where the smog thing on the cars, God, what a stupid nightmare that is. And they're better now, where they're like passing the older cars that don't pass, when back then they absolutely refused to pass them. And it's just a stupid living nightmare. And it was like, why are they so hard on the cars when the buses and the tractor trailers drive by and a big poof of black smoke all over the place and ashes on your car? That's right, especially if you're in downtown LA. Oh my gosh. It's just you have ashes all over the car every time one of those suckers goes by. And if that's not polluting, just let me know. How does a bus get away with that and a car can't? Um so yeah. But yeah, I just don't think we're at the point of everybody surrendering their fuel cars to go to electric. Most people can't even afford that. You cannot force the entire United States to go electric car when I mean you still have truckloads of homeless people from the pandemic alone. And now you want to make everybody have a car that's almost $100,000. People can't afford that. It's not happening. There is no way in hell. You know, none. So, and you don't want some of the older used electric cars because those are all the screwballed up ones that they first started with. You would never want like the first Tesla made. Are you kidding? Hell no. You know? So, they're just now getting to, I think, 350-mile range on these suckers before charge when they were like 150, 200. Shoot, I used to do 150 a day just running costumes in one city, driving back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. No lie. Man, I'd be in terrible problem with electric car. I got some that'll charge faster now and all that kind of thing. But if you ever have to replace the batteries, I remember when a friend of mine in Dothan, I remember my daughter's daddy, George, we talked to a guy that was a manager from out of state. He'd come to manage this CC Pizza. Nice guy. And he had this wild car. And we were talking about his car, and he took us out and showed it to us, and it was half electric and half gas. And that was just the craziest thing we'd ever seen. And he was telling us all about it. And then he's like, well, it's got two batteries, real big batteries here, and they're $2,000 each. And it's like, oh my gosh. Can you imagine breaking down because of your battery and you need $2,000? Yeah, that's just jump change. I always keep that in my back pocket. Oh my gosh. You better pray you have a huge overdraft for your bank account. The average Joe cannot afford that. People have trouble just putting gas in the car. They don't have $2,000 to replace a battery on a car when it breaks down. You know? And on the trains, we had like 6 batteries, 4 or 6 batteries on electric trains. And you know what? You can't replace just one. You have to replace every single one of them. You cannot replace just one. It doesn't happen. So, yeah. But anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you guys. And so you can have some hope for the future. And if you're homeless and you're willing to work and you're clean, there is some positive stuff out there for you. There's BB and her dude. Well, and her husband now, but I always say it was her husband before anyway. What's going on? BB's Adventures from YouTube, you guys. Gotta check them out. They are vlogging away like crazy. They have the coolest channel now. If you haven't been there, do check it out. They just went to Puerto Rico on their honeymoon, and they did a trip before that that was real cool. They did a ton of beautiful, beautiful vlogs of Puerto Rico. Guys, gotta see it. Gotta see it. Lots of fun. Um, from housing to dining to the landscape, farming, all kinds of neat stuff on there. Super neat. And really nice people that they visited with that were relatives and friends and stuff. But do check their channel out. It's pretty awesome. Um, but yeah, so I hope that helps everybody. If you know somebody that's down and out and not in Beverly Hills, um, uh, let them know because there's some wonderful opportunity out there, and everything hasn't gone to hell. If I didn't have this house deal pending, that I don't know if it's going to really go through or not. I've got to get all the storages paid up first before I make the move. Um, if it doesn't go through, I may consider that housing with a job thing. Because that's not bad at all. That's so much better than living in the friggin' car by far. I wished I would have known. Really, I wished I would have known because it'd be an easy, quick way. Like I say, even if you just like had your little roll up sleeping bag and a pillow, and just go in there, just go to sleep because I have house rules. Also, they don't uh, usually mix sexes. So they may have an all boy house and an all girl house, or they'll separate it by bedroom. And they'll put all girls in one bedroom and all guys in one bedroom, that kind of thing. And those are the house rules, but you don't ever want to violate. So, um, no, no, this is housing for jobs. They don't do any of that. Matter of fact, I know a lady in Destin. Her and her guy came, and he stayed in one place that was all boy, and she stayed in another place that was all girl, and they pay separate. Yeah, yeah. So that's just the way it's done. It's an opportunity to travel, an opportunity to make money, and have a roof. Like I say, I wish I would have known it because I sure wouldn't have been in the car this long. You know, all I need is the gas to get to wherever, and because it's all over like the internet and stuff. It's a thing now. Jobs with housing. Just look it up. Pick a state, pick a country. Jobs with housing. So I knew about the Orient, like Japan. I knew about Guam. I knew about Alaska jobs like that. I sure didn't know that the United States was popular on it. And again, like I say, I don't know if this was before the pandemic or to help save the people, that got hit hard in the pandemic, um, or just a real brand new thing, because I've really never quite heard of it. I know that when we went to California, my youngest girl and I go see my daddy. That we in our travels, there's a club that I work for that I dress, and they have one club in what is it, Texas, and the other club is over the state line in Oklahoma. And so I would go work the two of them, and it was really neat. And um, both clubs had housing for anybody that was employed there, whether they're a bartender or they're security or they're a showgirl. Um, they had some kind of housing deal there, and I don't know. I tried to find out what they were charging or whatever. I do know the one in Oklahoma because they told me if I was ever traveling on the road that we were welcome to stay in their little housing thing. They had like little tiny apartments, and we could stay free. But that might be because I pay a lot of house when I'm selling costumes. So, and then the other place that we did in Texas, they charged me a discount rate, and we had a full suite that had dishes, flatware, I mean everything. It was so nice. I did a video of it. I think I've got several of them on YouTube. Oh, was that nice? And so we double hit it. We did that one going out to California and on the way back on the flip flop. Man, was it nice. And they only charged me, I think the first time we went through, the manager charged us like 20 or 25 a night, and the local hotel rate was like 60. And for any of the hotels around there. And then, um, uh, and none of them have been as nice as the suites that we got. And then had the rain shower, and all that's just really nice. And big giant TVs. I think I had like 3 TVs in it. It was nicer than the casino suites that we've had. And They had like a whole locked up apartment complex right next to the club. It had big, tall wrought iron fences and gate, and some people couldn't like walk in and out of there. And so it was really cool to go to work because I would just roll my rolling bags over there, and me and Babe would roll my rolling bags over there to the club, and then she'd go back to the suite, and she could hang out and cook and watch TV and just whatever. It was great, and she was totally safe, because it's locked in. It's like people can't wander in and out of there. And my car was also locked in too, so you don't have to worry about drunks hitting the car, or anybody breaking into it, you know, because it's right there, you know. It was pretty cool. But their other club that was over the state line, they had little tiny like antique looking little, uh, like one room little places to stay, and they did them free, or they offered it to me free. When we came back through from California, though, to the real nice place there in Texas, like they raised the rate. I think they raised it to like 40. They said, "Oh no, it's gonna be 40 a night." And we stayed. Let's see, what, a week each time. We might have stayed just 3 days on the way to California, and I think we stayed a week on the flip flop when we came back through. But man, was it super neat! Gee whiz! You can't even imagine how neat it was. Yeah, really, really nice. And I mean, we would empty everything out of the car. That would, wherever we went, if we wanted to go shopping or whatever, we didn't have to worry about a bunch of stuff in the car and worry about the car because the car was all emptied out, and, nice, neat, and clean, and vacuumed and everything. So, but yeah, so that was a lot of fun. Anyway, if you're not homeless or you know somebody that's homeless, or down and out, whatever, wonderful opportunities there. All I can say is, I hope to God that they're sober and they're not a dope head because it's not going to get you anywhere. And you have to be clean and be responsible. So there's some great opportunities there, you know, and uh, do check it out. It is definitely there. I've talked to so many people this week that are doing these jobs with housing and stuff. I mean, I'm talking to people face to face in person with different companies and all that kind of stuff, and have gone all kinds of places. Yep, and even overseas. If you've got passport, visa, whatever, there's some neat deals like that overseas. Pretty interesting. So do check it out. I hope you guys have a great one. I love you. Thanks for all the thumbs up. Do some kind for a stranger. I will see you in the next one. I promise.